I have a love-hate relationship with this hill behind me. I'll come here every once in a while with a friend to exercise, and the plan's always one of a few things. It's either sprint race to the top of the hill, carry some heavy giant bag to the top of the hill, or throw some obscenely heavy rubber ball over your head over and over until you're at the top of the hill. Every time, it's all I can take to get to the top. It's stretching, it's challenging, and when I get to the top, it's all I can do to try to not get sick before we head to the bottom and try again. I know that the only way to get stronger is to go to the top of the hill. But knowing isn't enough. And it's not particularly helpful to stand at the bottom looking at the hill, thinking about what it would be like if I went to the top of the hill. So anytime I'm standing at the bottom of the hill wondering, do I really want to get stronger? Am I really going to get to the top of the hill? The answer has to be yes. Earlier this week on the vlog, we talked about how important and we shared some ideas on how to create space to listen to God alone and also with his people. And how cool is it that we can expect God to speak and to invite us into new life? It's absolutely awesome that we can discover what he's saying. But what's the next step? It's as simple and as difficult as the three-letter word, yes. Between the person that we are today and the person that God is inviting us to become is that three-letter word and the action that goes with it. And the more costly it is, the more challenging it is, the more shaping it will be. And so we invite this. We show up at the bottom of the hill inviting change in the challenge. Think about it. Every time Jesus invited someone to trust him more, it always came with a costly action, a way for them to engage and participate. Even in his miracles, he often made space for people around him, his followers, to participate in those. And so we shouldn't be surprised that on the other side of challenge, from the bottom of the hill looking up, that all good things are uphill, that God's going to invite us into challenging action. And in that action, the shaping and the inviting he does in the space we have created takes hold in our lives, and we actually experience the new kind of life that God's inviting us to. This isn't really a surprise though, right? I mean, if Jesus had invited the people wanting to follow him, who wanted to experience new life, to do what they had always done, to do what's easy and comfortable, it's not likely to lead to growth. It's like a healthy teenager trying to work out with soup cans. It's not likely to bring much change, right? In the same way, God challenges us forward because in the challenge we grow. More than that, Jesus connected our obedience, our doing, our action associated with what he invites us to our love for him. And we already kind of know that too, don't we? That love is not just some feeling or intention expressed. It's always expressed in action. Right, my family and I the other day watched this older movie called A Knight's Tale, and in it there's this guy who's epic at the lance, the medieval competition. Two horses ride and collide and do the thing, and so he wants to express his love to this woman by saying, "I will win every match for you," and she looks at him and says, "You would be doing that anyway." And so she says, "If you really want me to believe how much you love me, you'll lose every match." And so he goes to work, and the following scenes are just epic, failure after failure after failure. Him getting outside of his character, giving up something to express love. And that makes sense to us. It didn't make sense to my kids, but it makes sense to us, right? That greater love is willing to offer greater sacrifice. The way we express love is by giving of ourselves to others. And so not only is doing what God has said the shaping thing that changes us, it's one of the ways that we express our love and gratitude to Jesus and acknowledge who he is in our lives. So let's be doers of what God is saying, right? We want to listen and discover, but let's be doers. Let's not stand at the bottom of the hill and look up. Let's sprint. Let's run. Let's give effort to what God is inviting us to. Because in that is where the real change comes. And when we live our way into this new life where God truly shapes us and forges us in the doing. And it's the place that we expressed our great love and gratitude to Jesus. Just following his example, right? Great sacrifice at great cost, communicating great love, right? This is exactly what he was like. So as you spend time with God and as you spend time with God's people this week, let's make sure we're always driving our way to actions. We often express these in I will statements, a commitment, a yes to doing something. And then we follow up and support one another. Discovery Bible Study is a great model for this. I've got some epic stories from our group of guys and from others around. God's doing some cool things as we don't just listen, but we give effort to obeying and sharing, doing and sharing what God is inviting us into. And so take just a minute, maybe put a story in the comments about a time where you did what God said and how it turned out, how good God was in the midst of that, how he brought real change in your life. Or maybe think about what is it that God's calling you to do next. Post that in the comments. We can encourage you, pray you, and spur you on along the way. But let's be people who are doing what God is saying.